how was that?
Yeah, I still struggle with that, I guess. But you know what the thing is? I'm still not I'm still afraid to go to art exhibitions, opening nights. I still have that, you know.
Hey y'all! So, for today's video, we're going to be talking about Imposter. As you guys can see, you're still in my room. I am getting ready for today's interview. I am so excited. I have my favorite girl, Nale. She's coming on the channel. She's going to talk about imposter syndrome. She is actually an artist, and when she came into the industry, she was a woman. She was not accepted. It was a whole mission. And so your girl decided to make her own table, and she is flourishing. She is actually doing so well. However, it was a mission. So we're going to be talking with her today just about the imposter syndrome and how she overcame it and how she still sometimes struggles with it. We all can agree and say we've been in situations where we've just felt like, yo, I shouldn't be in this room, or I don't know how to get into this room, or it's just uncomfortable because you just feel overwhelmed or unqualified. And so I'm excited. It's gonna be on Zoom. I'm gonna get ready. I need to sleek the hair a little bit more, put my little bun on. Since it's all girls here, you guys know that the bun is fake when you'll see the bun. I am pretty excited for it, so let's start. So welcome, my friend. Welcome. I missed you so much. You are so pretty. Like I don't even know because I've seen more makeup before. This is not the most you've had around me, but I like it. I like it. How are you?
You.
So, first of all, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so excited. And when I was thinking about this topic, I was like, I saw your picture and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. One of the topics that have been heavy on my heart, and even just people have asked me on my YouTube channels, how do I deal with feeling not qualified or feeling like I shouldn't be in the room? So, like
Yeah.
the syndrome. And so today I just want to discuss it because I know you are an artist and we're going to talk all about it and how
Mhm.
you became an artist, like how you got into spaces and you're doing pretty well. But before we get into that, I have some fun questions for you. Are you a mountains or ocean girl? Like, do you prefer the mountains?
Ocean by far.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I could have answered
definitely.
that. I literally did
Ocean.
that picture and when you
Yeah,
see the
everyone
people
like
painted.
even my mind went to that picture.
Yeah. Oh, I want that picture. I'm gonna add
Yeah.
it so people can see because I was like, wait,
What
yeah,
are you
wait.
talking about? Yeah, yeah,
Who
yeah.
am I talking to? Okay, what's one word that describes you?
Help her.
I see that. I
Mm.
see that.
I think that's the first thing that pops into my head. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah,
I see that. I
definitely
see
help
that.
her. Mm.
So, what book are you currently reading? Do you even read, my friend?
I still read. Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
that's good. That's good. That's good.
Okay. It's actually a workbook. Don't judge me.
Uh huh.
Okay. It's by Nick Christelis and
Uh-huh.
it's about leadership. So at work we do a lot of trainings. So we
Hmm.
were doing training about leadership and that's the book I'm reading right now. We got it, when we were doing training. So obviously I'm gonna read it. I'm not about to get a book for free and not read it. So that's the book I'm
Listen,
reading right
I love leadership books. I'm just gonna give a
now.
free plug to our pastor. He has a book called "Stop Waiting for Permission." You should get it,
Mm-hmm.
read it.
Yeah. Sounds
Um,
like my kind of book.
yeah, no, I'm like obsessed with leadership. It's it's
Mm-hmm.
it's a, it's a thing. It's like, listen, if I can grow in that aspect, I'm gonna get the book.
Yeah.
Are you a sweet or savory person?
Definitely sweet.
Are you
100%.
Yeah, you like
Sweet.
chocolate. You eat a lot
I
of
love, even though I'm lactose intolerant, I still
You like,
kill
let me
myself.
feel that later.
Guys, it's just
Yeah.
it's sad.
So wait,
But yeah.
are you just like a chocolate person, or do you like gummies and lollipops and that whole thing?
Yeah, everything. Funny enough, at work, I like buying like lollipops and stuff, and everyone's like, "When are you gonna grow up?" Like the other day, we went on a trip, and then we were at the garage, and I was like, "Can I have a lollipop?" Literally, I'm still my sweet tooth is strong, guys. Like definitely sweet.
So talking about work, are you the youngest? 'Cause I see your story sometimes, and I'm like, are you the youngest in the office?
Yeah, I think I am the youngest at the office. Yeah, I'm one of yeah, definitely at the branch that I'm at right now. I'm definitely the youngest person, and it shows because I love like having fun and I'm always laughing and whatnot. So yeah, I'm definitely the youngest person at work
And
right now.
like funny enough when we work together. So what you guys don't know is like we met at work. It's like the
Yep.
craziest story. We met at work, and I'm so grateful because like I always think back to the 2 years of coming back home. I was like,
Yeah.
"Sweet, I could have gone to New Zealand. I could have gone to all these other places." But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think of you and Lilo and Mundanda specifically, and I'm like, man, if I hadn't come home, I wouldn't have met you guys because I met you guys
Literally,
in that
like,
period. Um,
yeah.
but even when we worked together, you were the youngest. And so there's like a
Yeah.
pattern. I feel like you're always the youngest, either in the room or the
Yeah.
youngest in the workplace. How's that for you? Do you ever feel like you shouldn't be
Um,
there? Or it's
I
weird?
don't know. I think okay. I haven't really, how can I put it, made it a thing. For me, it hasn't been a thing that, oh, I'm the youngest or whatnot. Or I've never been in a space where people have highlighted my age per se, or maybe
Yeah.
they do it behind my back. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it hasn't really. I don't think it's affected how I've worked. It's just that they treat me like the baby per se, like,
Uh-huh.
oh, But besides that, honestly, all my opinions count. All my
Yeah.
suggestions are taken into account. So it's not really a thing, I guess,
Were you ever
for now.
nervous to like,
Not really. I think because I work because I love what I do, I haven't
uh-huh.
really been afraid to walk into any, work environments because I wanted to be there.
Yeah.
So I've always been up for the challenge that, okay, cool, I meet the team that I'm going to work with and I kind of see who I'm going to get along with, who I should stay away from. And then I just get a hang of it. Like, I've never been afraid of like walking into any company.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, but yeah.
Are you so in your company, I've seen some of your colleagues. Are you the
Mm.
only brown skinned person in your
No,
office?
there's a lot of brown skinned people at
I'm talking
work.
about like the admin office, like your office. I'm not talking about
Oh
external.
yeah, the admin side, officers side. Yeah, it's a lot of. I'm not the only brown skinned person, but I'm one of few
Oh,
ladies. Yeah,
okay. And so let's talk about your art thing because I know you had a lot of backlash about that. So like
mm,
in work, in corporate, you're always the young person or the kind of
yeah,
the well. When me and you work together, you weren't the only brown person. You just came for
yeah,
the colored. you came you came to the minority because I was the only
yeah.
colored there.
True.
Um, yeah, colors erase people when you'll see this video. But I know when you started doing art, especially back
Yeah,
home, I've seen a lot of black guy artists or white
yeah,
artists. There's not
yeah,
a lot of black female or colored
yeah.
artists. And then you came with a whole afro too. It's not even like you were like
Yeah,
a
I used to
weave
come with the
nails,
flow.
you know, like you came with a whole like afro vibe. What was it
Yeah,
like
yeah,
trying to and then you also didn't study it. You just
yeah,
naturally
yeah.
how
It's
was that?
still, yeah, I still struggle with that, I guess. But you know what the thing is? I'm still not part of the art community.
Yeah,
I don't go to, I'm still afraid to go to art exhibitions, opening nights. I still have that, you know, that thing where I just feel like I'm an imposter, like I don't belong here.
uh-huh.
But I know these people, but I didn't go to school with them. I didn't start out with them, and they don't recognize me as an artist. Maybe they do. It's just that I don't feel that way, or I haven't made a lot of efforts to fit in to that art industry. So even now, I don't participate in a lot, with in terms of the art industry. I don't apply for grants, like art grants. I don't go to all these art trips and whatnot. I don't know why, but it's a closed, like, if once you see the people and the art community that I'm dealing with, you'd understand that these people have worked together for years. They went to study together. They've started their own styles and whatnot in that community. So when you
Yeah,
come in from outside, you didn't study it. They don't know what you can do. You're not following the rules. You're not waiting for opportunities that are coming up within whatever they're doing. You're just doing your own thing, and they don't
yeah.
have control over you. They don't have a say over what you're doing. You don't really You're not trying to get their customers. You're not trying to get their clientele. So they're just looking at you like, what are you doing? What's happening? Like,
It's funny.
where does she fit in? So they don't really know which box to put you in. They just there. Like, okay, there's the art world, and then there's Naledi. Like sometimes she's here, sometimes she's not. Like, so it is a bit weird. I don't wanna lie. It's been weird. I don't wanna. It's just
But it's funny you say that because even though they don't accept you in the art world because you didn't study, you did study. Like what people don't know about you is that you're really smart. Like you went to college for free because companies were fighting over you. Like people,
yeah,
and I feel like you don't brag about this, you don't talk about it, but you really smart. Like the money your parents saved for your college, you bought a car because you didn't need it. Um,
yeah,
you've studied, even though you didn't study to become an artist, you really
yeah,
studied and you studied well. And then on top of that, like because I remember certain situations where they didn't want to include you because you didn't study to be an artist or
yeah,
invite you
yeah,
to their expos,
yeah.
but you created your own table. Let's talk about that because you've been in the art game for what, like 2 years now, two and a
Yeah,
half, almost three
yeah,
years,
yeah.
and you've done way better than some people who've been in the art for 10 years. Like you've been on TV so many times. You've been on Durban Expos. You've been invited to so many radio stations. You like
Mm,
whenever I look at yourself, you just had a successful black tie event where it was like
mm,
sold out. So, like people
mm,
wanted to
mm.
come. But
Yeah,
you are like if you look at the paper, if you look at statistics, like on
yeah,
paper, you didn't study art, you didn't go to the Paris and like all these things. You and
yeah,
also you self-taught. You like literally taught yourself art.
yeah,
And so in a way, I think their rejection kind of helped you because I don't think you would have achieved as much because you didn't have
yeah,
their voices in your ear. I don't know if that makes sense.
yeah,
Can
yeah. I
you,
totally
because
agree.
I want you to talk about some of the projects you did because you've done, like, honestly, as a friend, just watching you.
Yeah,
Even my best friend said this the other day. She was just like, as an artist, you're doing really well, even though you may not see it, but just
yeah,
looking back at everything you've achieved, like just people who have
mm-hmm.
worked with you, even your sponsors. I've been looking at your invites and your posters, and I'm like, how the hell did this girl get this company to sponsor her? You had big
Yeah,
companies sponsor you,
mm.
but the artist, because it's a very also, I feel, and you can correct me. I feel like artists tend to be very like standoffish. They're not like the most inviting
Yeah,
period
yeah,
to be in. Like I don't know if like
yeah.
how's that for you?
I don't know. I think even for okay, cool. So I don't know how to explain it. For the event that I did, the black tie, I invited a lot of artists. So
Uh-huh.
sometimes we say, "Oh, we're not accepted," or as much as we talk online and we chilled with some people explained why they couldn't make it or whatnot, and that
Yeah,
is okay. Some people didn't even respond to the invite. Some people were just like, "Okay, what are you talking about?" It's that kind of thing.
yeah,
So that's like a visual of people just being like, okay, cool. And
yeah,
and then, so that shows you the response, from the art industry side. It
yeah.
makes it very clear that okay, we see you, we see what you're doing, but we're not about to participate or whatnot. Yeah.
So have you what's like the positive side of like being an artist? Have you made connections with other artists?
Uh well, it's not like I
Be
tried, so I
honest.
can't
It's
really
like
blame
be
I
honest
can't
because
really blame other people.
yeah,
I haven't really made an effort. I don't know, Angel, I don't know how to explain my art journey. Um, I never intended to come into the art industry to become a painter and become this famous painter that creates these expensive artworks and everybody, you know, internationally buys my work and I become rich and then I die and then my work becomes more expensive and whatnot. That's
mhm,
literally not what I had in mind for myself. It's that if that was the case, I was gonna make sure that I find the money somewhere to go and study art and become an
mhm,
artist if that was the
mhm,
goal.
yeah,
My goal was that I love art. Art
yeah,
is just in me. It's what I know. If you wake me up at 2 in the morning and say, do what you can, I will literally start drawing or painting. I can make money off my hands. When all else fails, I turn to art. So I looked at this and I was like, damn, if I can still make money off art without anyone teaching me this, then how about I show people that you can create a business out of this and you can actually survive on it, and then you don't need to have had studied it. You know, there's no really like a guide that you need to follow. You just need to do it, you know, and be consistent and whatnot. So if I do it and you see me do it and you see me succeed in it, then you believe that it's possible. And then I can show you how it's done. I can, you know, look at different various options of how to do this thing and then show you how to do it, you know,
Yeah.
because there's so much gatekeeping. You will not believe that. It's just mind-blowing how much information there is that people just don't know. It's as
Mm.
simple as when I did an exhibition, people didn't know that it's so easy to just, you know, get an art gallery, pay to put your work up there and then have an exhibition. People didn't know that. They, you
Yeah.
know, there are some galleries that don't allow you to do that. You have to apply and they have to critique your work and approve and whatnot. You have to have a profile, but not all galleries do that. I think those ones that allow you to do that are giving you that background that's needed to enter those kind of galleries that are more, you know,
Yeah.
you know. So
Hard.
I think for me, people seeing someone who didn't study art, who is not an artist, host an exhibition, have a solo exhibition, have it being broadcasted on TV, have it on every radio station, they see that, oh my gosh, I can do it as well. You know, I could just
Yeah.
wake up one day and follow my passion. That's literally what I wanted. So I'm an artist who is self-taught, working in the art industry, you know, doing what I want when I want to,
Yeah.
and just showing people that it's possible. That's literally my intention, that you can thrive in your passion and still exist in the corporate world and still live a life. Because honestly, unfortunately, in South Africa, it's very hard to be an artist that is self-taught and you haven't studied art and just start a business, and then you can have medical aid, you can pay for your car, you can pay for an apartment. It's close to impossible. It's close
Yeah.
to impossible. You just can't do it. So even with me, I had been in arts for 2 years and I still couldn't afford to have medical aid and, you know, have my own car that I wanted and pay installments. I couldn't do that. I had to get a job, you know.
Mm.
So it's even in that, being realistic. I know, like my sister's generation, like the 2Ks, the 2000s, they believe that you can just follow your passion and you'll succeed and everything will be fine. That's not how it works. Like, I need people to understand that you can't just wake up one day. It's not for everyone. It doesn't happen. There are people who are lucky like that. Like, good for y'all, bruh.
But
Like,
like
you
mom
do
and
what
dad are
you
paying for your car and the bread, and
literally.
the lights still have to be on. Like I wish
Exactly,
I
you
could
know.
just be like, bye. I'm gonna do my passion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I need to show that as much as I'm doing the art thing, I have a full-time job. And if it wasn't for my full-time job, I wouldn't be in this apartment. Like,
Yeah.
it's as easy as that, you know? So honestly, I feel like I'm not the traditional artist. People always tell me, you don't look like an artist. I'm like, what is an artist supposed to look like? You
That's
know?
true. You
So
too gorgeous to be an artist.
that's where I feel like an imposter, because we're always like, oh my gosh, you don't look like an artist. And I'm like, what does an artist look like? Like,
Yeah.
explain to me, what am I supposed to do to look like an artist? So I don't know. Like, I just exist. I just do what I love, and I'm relatable, I guess. A lot of people
That's what I
go to
love
school,
about you.
do the right thing, you study, you want to get a good job and make your parents proud, but there's that thing in the back of your head where you're like, I love this thing and I want to do it. And I'm
Yeah.
doing both, you know. So I think it's just that relatability where people are like, oh my gosh, I can do, if Naledi can do it, then I can do it as well. So it's just as simple as that.
Yeah. And how did you, because I know like your parents are strict and they wanted you to get that degree. How did you
Mm.
navigate having those conversations? Just being like, because you do have a job, but there was a
Yeah.
period where you were not working and you were
Yeah,
just
yeah,
doing,
yeah. I
and it's
think the
like,
thing, you know what, I can't really compare my parents to other parents that are
yeah,
against doing a creative, you know, career,
yeah,
because my parents didn't say we don't want you to do art. My parents have always known that I've been an artistic child. I've always
hmm,
loved art. I wanted to be a designer at first. They always supported that, but they were realistic. They were like,
yeah,
why don't you make your art, have a backup, and then pursue your art? So
Okay.
they did give me the platform that, okay, cool, go study something, and then after that, then we'll give you that, we'll support you when you feel like you're ready to do your art. So I did go
Yeah.
to study, and I was blessed to get a bursary, and they were there for me like in anything that I wanted to do. Because like, there was a time where I did modeling, and my mom would take me to all the classes and pick me up and whatnot. So while I
Uh-huh.
was studying, so they really, like, they were like, just show us that you really committed to this thing. So when I did finish my degree, I took that 1 year to start my art, and it took off. So
Yeah.
honestly, if it didn't take off, they were gonna be like, "Bruh, you need to go to work. Like, go find a
Yeah.
job."
Yeah.
So as much as they were like, "Okay, cool, get a plan B," yes, they are strict, but it to me now it makes sense. I get it,
Yeah.
because a
They
lot
were
of
being
parents,
realistic. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of parents, if you come out, if in varsity I got a award, I think I was, what was I, second or third in my grade, and obviously you'd imagine that I would get this good job and whatnot, and for me to sit for that year just trying to figure myself out and try to, it's like, bro, why are you wasting your academics or whatnot?
Mm.
And it's just like, oh, okay, cool, you don't know the reality of it, and it's gonna
Yeah.
kill me if I don't try this. So if I try it and I fail, then I know that I tried, then I
Yeah.
can go into corporate. But if I do it and it works and I can balance both, then I feel like I'm satisfied.
Yeah. How did you gain your confidence with posting like your art? Because like I know you spoke about being self-taught, you spoke about starting out, whatever. But it's like I
Yeah,
know for me when I posted my first video ever,
yeah,
I'm a loudmouth amongst my friends. I'm not
mm,
like a loudmouth in general. Like I'm actually
yeah,
introvert. And so when I had to release, and I always say my YouTube is my form of art. Like when I
yeah.
had to release my first YouTube video, I was petrified.
I remember.
I put it
Yes,
like,
thank
switched
you.
my phone
Yes,
off. I like hid. I was like,
yeah,
they are gonna laugh the heck out of me. This is gonna be so
yeah,
embarrassing. I just felt
yeah,
like when I looked at everyone else's YouTube channels, to be honest, I was
yeah,
like, mine is not there. Like
yeah,
I would look at people's middle and expect my beginning to be like that. How do you
yeah.
overcome it? How do you feel like how do you get the courage to like post your first art, your first project?
Yeah. I think it's just a personality thing. I don't know. Um, I just don't care really. Like whether you people like my art or they don't, I don't care. If you don't like it, you won't look at it. You won't buy it. If you like it, you buy it. I remember with my first exhibition, the last thing on my mind was the art. That people would like the art. For some odd
Yeah.
reason, I only thought about that afterwards when it had to sell. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh snap! Oh, there's that part where I actually have to sell the art, where people
Yeah.
actually have to like it. And
Yeah.
then only I thought about the art. But I've never ever there's never been an artwork where I did an artwork and then afterwards I was afraid to post it or whatnot. If like, I think the beauty of not going to varsity and studying art is that it's that thing where you don't have any competition. You don't doubt your skills or by
Yeah.
seeing other people that are doing better. You just, all you know is yourself. You don't have this
Yeah.
person where oh, they got the best marks in class, maybe everyone's gonna notice them and they won't notice me,
Uh-huh.
or mine will look like this artist's work or whatnot. Because I wasn't taught any of this, I know that I'm the only one doing it the way that I'm doing it. So you can't really like hate on it, or I can't feel bad about you hating on it, because you can't do it at the end of the day. Like you can hate, but you can't replicate it and you can't do it. So what's the use? So I think I just never really cared. Even now, I don't care. Like I just don't care.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. I need the I don't care because it's like what I'm so
Yeah.
nervous. I feel like pooping in my pants all the time.
But you know
What
what? I think, sorry, I think we need to
yeah,
be realistic. I think the reason why I don't care is because I know that
I'm
I
good.
don't.
I'm a
No,
badass.
yeah, like it's like this is
You're
not
like,
the
I
only
know
thing that
I'm
I've
not
got
supposed to
going on.
swear.
I think that's the
Say
thing. If
it.
people, if you spend 90K a year studying it, and
Yeah,
you know all people know you for is doing art, and this has to work. This is your plan A, B, C to Z. It's like then
yeah,
you like scared. Oh my gosh, is it gonna work? So I think that's that thing that backs me up, where I'm like, if it doesn't work, bruh, I have a 9 to 5 that I have to go to. Like, I'm good. I'm getting a
Yeah.
salary. So I think that also contributes. Let's be realistic. So I'm not just gonna say that I don't care because I don't care, but it's
Yeah.
that thing that I have reassurance that, okay, if it doesn't work, I'll just try something else. I have the liberty to do that.
Yeah. And an
Yeah.
exposure. I know with you, most of your gigs, you actually got them just by helping people. Because, like,
Yeah.
what people don't know is that Nalea is that friend that, okay, we'll get to the party on time or a little bit early, but we gonna be the last person. Like, when I sit drive with you, I'm like, we're gonna be the last people to leave because we packing chairs up, we're
Yeah.
putting
Yeah.
things in the sink. And,
Cleaning
like,
up. What do we
people are
do?
always
Yeah.
like, that's one thing I learned.
Yeah.
People always just like after the event pack and leave, and you stay behind
Mm.
to also host if they need help and all. And it's in those situations where you interact or connect with people who have
Yeah.
given you business because of that. Was that
Yeah.
intentional, or was that just like, hey, I'm just gonna help and serve?
Um, Fortunately, unfortunately, it's just who I am. And I've noticed that a lot of times some people want to be close to me because they know that I genuinely want to see them grow,
Yeah,
even when they're not going to contribute anything towards me. But they know that if I have Naledi by my side, I'm good. I'm
yeah.
always willing to help. And my whole intention, obviously, like why I do art is because I want to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just in me, it's just who I am. I don't really do well if I'm not helping or attributing to other people. That's why I describe myself as a helper. And as a Christian and in my faith, that's
Yeah.
my gift. It's helping other people. And everything just happens beautifully when I'm helping other people. If I'm doing things for myself, it just never, it's like commissions. Like when I do art now, I used to do a lot of commissions where people send me pictures and then I create art out of it and then they pay me. Before it used to be like, okay, I need to make money because I need to pay for this, pay for that. But I realized that I don't like doing commissions. Like, I really hate it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just
Mm-hmm.
don't like doing it. But now I usually get really good stories behind the art that I'll do. And now knowing that there's a good story behind it, I feel better doing it. Like the other
Yeah.
day, I got an artwork for a lady who gave birth and then her baby passed away a few weeks later, and she had one picture of the baby. So she
Yeah.
wanted to create an artwork of it. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, hell yeah, bring it on. I want to do that, even though I'm
Mm-hmm.
working and I'm stressed out, but I want to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
now that's doing it with the purpose. It's no longer just about the money. So I
Mm-hmm.
think for me, I'm just a helper, and it's just in me. If somebody uses me and it leaves me torn, I'll recover and move on, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just who I am. Yeah.
And so were you, because your art is like everyday art. It's like when I
Yeah.
say everyday, um, everyone can relate to your art, or it's
Yeah.
not like, and I don't know if this was intentional or, but when people see your art, I don't know what's making a noise. Something is echoing,
Yeah.
but
I can hear now.
you can hear the echo.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's echoing. It's like, because I don't even have a mic on me. Is it my
Yeah.
headphones?
Okay, it's
Oh,
gone now. It's
is
gone
that what
now.
it's
Yeah.
still here? It's still here. Um, but I was saying, was that intentional to create art for everyday person?
Yes, definitely. I think with the sip and paints that I do,
Uh-huh.
um, I teach people art methods that are created by someone who taught themselves. So if I tell you that I taught myself this and I never studied this, you believe that you can do it as well because I taught
Yeah.
it to myself, right? You
Yeah.
trust me better. So with my art, it's also just, I remember my first exhibition, I used the cheapest paints you can find. I used pastels that you use at school to paint my work, just to show you that you don't need all this expensive equipment to create art, to create something beautiful, to create something valuable. You can use everyday materials, and it is art for everyday people with everyday budgets because it's affordable to everyone, because the goal is not to make money, it's just to show that you can create an art journey, you can create art and have a business and succeed in it, the way that you want to do it. So for me, the goal is to be relatable and to create art that's accessible to anyone, because I'm trying to teach the Black community how to invest in art. So if you buy my 500 rand artwork, and you feel like, oh my gosh, I can do this. If I can buy one for 500, when I get a better job, I'll go look for another one that's like 5K, and then you getting into that habit, but you're starting off, comfortably. You're not just going for that 5,000 rand artwork and feeling like, yo, I don't think this is for me, because galleries can be very overwhelming. You walk into a gallery and an artwork is like 50K, and that's unattainable. Like, you feel like, hey, this art thing is not for me, then you don't even appreciate it anymore. So if there's someone out there who's creating art that kind of looks like the same as, some artworks that are worth 100K, then you feel like, okay, cool, if I can have this in my house, then I can gradually, grow into that 100K point, which actually motivates you to do better in life as a whole, because you go from saying, oh, I want to afford a 5,000 rand artwork, to saying, I want to afford a 100K artwork. And then you start working harder in your life and achieving so much more and being able to afford that. So it just plays a huge role in your life as a whole. It's not just about buying that artwork. It's about learning to save, learning to invest in local, crafts, and learning to better yourself and, increase your tax brackets in a way. So it's so much bigger than art.
So what were the practical steps you would say for somebody who's feeling like an imposter? Because I told you I'm doing some gigs and I feel so underqualified right now. What are
Yeah.
the practical steps?
Sure, that's a hard question. You need to have a backup, like a support structure, reassurance. You need that. Everybody needs that for anything that you do. You need to believe in yourself, that this is what you love, and you're willing to invest in it and put your time into it. And even if it doesn't work, you can start again and try harder or try something different, and know that you can't be perfect at something that you're teaching yourself or something that you just started. It's impossible. Like, when I look back at the art that I did, sometimes I cringe. I'm like, is that me? Knowing the things that I know now, which is normal. So I think if you're entering any industry where it's just pure passion that's putting you in those places, you need to believe that you are different, because you come with a different perspective, you come with a different set of skills, you come with a fresh view, actually, for the people that you are dealing with. Because sometimes I've noticed some artists that studied art, they create similar art. It's always like similar vibe, similar technique, similar audience, similar stories. And then you find someone who's self-taught and they're doing something totally different, because they just, it came naturally to them, or their ideas come from somewhere totally different. They were never molded, by a lecturer or taught specific skills. So sometimes you need to understand that you are just different, and you are there to be different, and your role is to be different. When people think about you, they'll just think of creativity and innovation, and they want to work with you because you're more free to do something different. You don't feel like, I need to succeed in this. They know that you're a bit more fun, you're a bit more open, you're a bit more relaxed. You're not really like serious, you're not standoffish, because you're not just like, I'm an artist and I'm supposed to be successful and I can't work with you guys because you're not in my caliber. So because they know that you're just this chill person, you really you can adapt to any environment. So you just need to tell yourself that my role is to be different, bring a different view, and this is just who I am. And that's how you're gonna succeed, honestly.
That is so good. My role is to be different.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a shirt that says my role is to be different. I feel and you, yeah. I feel like there are times that I'm like, oh, my personality is too much for people, and I'm like, so my role is to be different. I like that. My role is to be different. Um, what was the best painting you've ever painted?
The best painting I've ever. That's a hard question.
I know you have a lot of paintings. When I thought of this, I was like, this is it. So I'm putting it in the corner. You have like
funny
a
enough,
story behind the painting.
Yeah, I think, what is the best story? Yo, Angel, that's a tough question. I have a lot of artworks that I think of as stories.
No,
Like
but
if I
like
think about it
I
now.
was like, yeah, nah, this one, I nailed it.
Oh, I'm joking.
Very bad, because every time I look
No,
at you, oh, I'm always like, you must see my painting. I went to stop and paint. You'll be proud of me.
girl, I need to see that. I need to see that. But you know what's my best painting? Oh, that's hard. Let me just say my favorite one at the
Okay.
moment.
Okay.
You remember my profile series, the main artwork? It was a girl like looking sideways with braids. Like that's the only
Uh-huh.
way people like know. It's called Elves, and I did
Uh-huh.
it in 2020. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
during COVID. So that's my favorite artwork because I remember I met this model on Instagram and I thought she was African, but she was Brazilian. So
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh gosh, she's so beautiful. I thought you were African and whatnot. And like, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
there's this image of you. Can I use that as inspiration, like for an artwork? And she's like, yeah, sure. Like, just show me like once you've done it and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. So I did the artwork and it didn't really look like her because it was an inspiration. And
Mm-hmm.
then that was literally the first artwork that I did that created, that chain for my whole exhibition. It was a side profile of a really beautiful woman, who's doing really, really well in her field. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, you know what? For me, this represents just seeing just a snippet of someone
Uh-huh.
where you don't really know their story. There's so much more about them, but you're looking at them in a side view and you're just getting a snippet of the story. And you
Yeah.
can create your own version of the story. When you look at her, you just think of, like I said, I saw an African girl, but she's not,
Yeah.
anywhere near being African.
Yeah.
So you can create your own story just by seeing someone from a side view. You're not getting the full story, and you can create your own story out of just looking at it. And I think that's what art is about. When we go to a gallery and you look at art, the artist is not there to tell you what they were thinking or what
Mhm.
was the inspiration. You kind of like create your own story of what you think is happening in the artwork. So that was that important art piece that created my first exhibition, and it's genuinely my favorite. I haven't sold it yet, and the reason why it hasn't sold is because I just love it. Like, I just love it
Oh,
so
so
much.
you're holding on to it.
People always begging me for that artwork. I'm like, doesn't feel right yet.
I feel like just keep it and put it in your house one day because you have
It
like
is like,
desires.
yeah,
Like the house is gonna be so gorgeous. I'm
yeah.
like, I'm ready. I'm like wedding house girl. You're gonna paint my whole house. Like I have things.
Oh
I just
gosh.
we just need to get houses now.
Bruh, tell me about it.
I'm
Like,
just ready to have like art around and like
yeah.
everywhere. It just sucks that like I left and you took off.
Literally, I've
Like
videotaped
I
you
literally
in
got on the plane
every
and I left
important.
at all these exhibition.
Literally, you missed everything. Everything.
How do you
Yeah.
deal with like the negativity that comes? Because like people are gonna get jealous when they see you succeed.
Yeah.
Not everyone is gonna celebrate you because you
Yeah.
have a lot of us that are cheering you on and you have a good support system. But
Yeah.
the reality is you still have people who are genuinely jealous or like are trying to stop your business from growing in a way or like
Yeah.
don't like that good stuff is coming your way, basically.
Yeah.
So how do you handle all that negativity?
Um, I don't know. I think I just pray, honestly, to be honest. I think sometimes it's not that someone is trying to sabotage you or they are against what you're doing. I don't know. It's just the clashing of people in a way. Like
Yeah,
sometimes it's just you when you kind of seep into other people's worlds and they like kind of see you mingling in their circles and kind of you know they like, what are you doing here, kind of thing, and
yeah,
they feel like, what's happening, who are you, what are you doing, kind of thing. So I think
yeah,
it's just people getting used to you and understanding what you're doing, and sometimes it's just miscommunication. And I'm that kind of person. No matter what you do to me, I will always see the good in you, because for me, all the time, I just deal with it at that time logically, and then I just move on, and things always come up. I feel like if you exist in the world, you're always going to have situations, and if you always take it to heart, you will not succeed, because you always have that thing in the back of your mind where you're like, oh, what's the next situation? So
yeah.
sometimes I just let it go and I move on and I never do it again out of just like anxiety.
Uh-huh.
Or I face it and I fix it and then I just move on from it.
So basically,
Yeah.
what you're saying is sometimes you just have to brush it off. Just be like,
Yeah,
"I'm
honestly.
sorry, it came across this way, but
Yeah.
wow." Which is good. You better than
Mm,
me. So
yeah.
I have one more question for you, and then we
Yeah.
can ask you some fun questions.
Okay, cool.
You are a very inclusive person. You
Yeah.
love including people, even if they don't want to be included, myself included, even if they run away from you. Um, like, why does that matter to you? Because what people don't know is even though you are self-made and you're successful at like your art business and you're doing really well, you still include even the people who pushed you out. Like if some, I'm like 101% sure if somebody who like was part of the art squad who like was like, oh no, she shouldn't come here, she didn't get a degree and
Yeah.
was came to you and was like, hey, I'm trying to do this and I saw you did it, can you help me?
Yeah.
101% sure you'd still help them. Like, were
Yeah.
you big on changing the story and just making sure people don't feel like an imposter?
Yeah. 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 I don't know. I think it's just who I am. Because I know for the black tie event that I did, I even reached out to one of our old friends and I invited them, which was big. Like one of my friends was like,
I was
why?
like, what are you talking about them when you
I
asked me
know.
what you do?
One of my friends was like, why? And I was like, you know what? It's not even about them. It's about me proving
Yeah,
to myself that I'm not that kind of person that will like, make a big deal out of something. And just to show that I don't have a problem with the person. It's
yeah,
just I genuinely do not. And
yeah,
if I reached out, I did my part and they ignored it and that's fine. And I'm cool with that, because they
yeah,
don't owe me anything.
yeah,
So for me, it's just my personality. It's just who I am. That's just the thing that God has put in me that even if a person has a problem with me, I must not have a problem with them. And whenever they ever feel the need that they need help from me, I must be the helper that God has made me into being. So for me, honestly, sometimes it grates me because people do the most craziest things, the most hurtful things, and you just have to get over it because that's your calling. So
yeah,
for me, it's my calling. It's who I am. And I know that I reached out because I know the things that are happening, and I want to be there because that's who I am, but I don't have to be. And if it's not received that way, then that's fine. It's kind of a little bit of a relief because I don't
mhm,
have to, mind my
yeah,
own problem. But it's like, yeah, it's just who I am, honestly. It's really who I am. And sometimes one thing that I've noticed is that if someone does something wrong to you and you just brush it off or move on from it, they don't recognize that they did something wrong. So if you mad, they don't know that you're mad. They don't know that they
yeah,
did something wrong. So you're just the one that's holding beef on your own. Like you're just
yeah,
there, like mad. So if even if you go back to them and try to be friendly, they friendly back because they didn't even know that there was a situation. So
uh-huh,
that's one thing that I've learned as well, is that just move on from it because they probably don't even know they did something wrong in the first place, which is
yeah,
kind of bad advice because then you're not facing your tension and whatnot.
yeah. Because
So
I
it
was like,
depends on the tension. It
yeah,
depends.
I was about to
It
say,
depends.
like,
Don't
it can
brush
go
off things
depending on
and
the
move on
person,
from
but
it.
that would annoy me if like he
Yeah, yeah,
constantly cut me off and I just have to come back smiling.
yeah, 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 yeah.
That
It
would be
depends.
hard.
It
Yeah.
depends, honestly. Mm.
Okay, where was the best place you've ever painted?
The best place I've ever painted.
Have
I've
you
only
painted by
painted
the
in like
ocean?
um it wasn't a painting, it was a drawing. It was at one of my sip and paints. We were drawing a nude model
I
and I
remember that.
surprised myself. I really surprised I genuinely was surprised because I was so for the first time I was afraid of like drawing in front of people because everyone was learning and I hadn't really done sketch work in a while.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, okay, I have to do this because now we're all doing it and I have to teach and show people what they need to do. So that was like, I was like, wow, this is a really cool environment. And I'm like, okay. Now
Did
I
your
understand
parents
how
stay?
people
Were your
feel
parents
when they're
there for
in
the
a
naked
certain
model?
Pardon?
Were your parents there for the naked model?
No, they were not. They wish they were there. Like they were like, this is kind of cool. Like my parents are so chill, bruh. Literally.
Actually,
It
I'll
actually
never
wasn't
go
awkward.
around it.
Like that was one of the best sip and paints I've ever done. Like every time, like that group talks to me, they're like, "Brian, we need to do that again." It was so not awkward as people would think. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to explain it. I don't know. It's just the art thing, I guess. It just wasn't like that. It wasn't awkward or anything. It was just she was just an artwork right there, just looking beautiful and being an artwork, and it wasn't weird or anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I know you have something coming up. I saw it on the socials.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about your little box or your big box. Let's not call it a little box. Your big box.
Okay, cool. So I do. Well, I started sipping paints. I think was it last year ish.
It
Yeah,
was
I
like
think it was
late
sometime last year.
2019.
Yeah, I started doing them. First of all, sip and paints have always been there. It's always been there. It's just that it hasn't been done generally. It's always
Mm-hmm.
been, for those, those high class,
High end. Yeah.
yeah, high end, sip
Yeah.
and paints, and usually only artists are invited because you guys are painting like something professional and whatnot. So,
Uh-huh.
so it wasn't really like an everyday thing in my world, I guess.
Yeah.
So I started them because I wanted them to be accessible to everyone. Everyone must be able to do sip and paints, and now they are, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can't do sip and paints everywhere all the time, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
it becomes inaccessible because you have to pay for flights and accommodation and these art kits and whatnot, which becomes unattainable, which goes back to that high class, high whatever that I'm running away from. So I created an art kit box, which actually exists already. It's just not accessible,
Mm-hmm.
to everyone. So
Mm-hmm.
in the art kit, the box transforms into a easel where you can put your canvas, and then you can have all your art and materials on the slot that comes like out of the box. So basically it's a box. You open it up, you lift up the top lid, and then you put your canvas on the lid, and then all your art materials are inside. You get a brush, you get paint, you get an apron and the
Mm-hmm.
canvas, obviously, and then boom, you have a sip and paint, and then you just have to have the drinks and the setup. So you
Yeah.
can buy them in bulk, because I know a lot of times when I'm doing a sip and paint, sometimes it's hard to find the exact same things, like the exact same size canvases for 60 people or 120. So if you buy these kits, everything is already inside, and you can buy them in bulk for
Yeah.
any sip and paint that you're having anyway, and you don't have to go around running around looking for the same brushes, the same canvas, and then everything's mismatched and whatnot. So that's what I've kind of made accessible. I didn't invent it, I didn't create it. It's not an innovation. It's just accessibility. It's as simple as
Yeah.
that. It's out there, but we don't have it in South Africa. I haven't seen anyone do it. I haven't seen it anyway. So just make it accessible. And if someone else does it, I don't mind, but it has to be there for people to buy. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are the ones for kids, and there'll be ones for adults. And I think I'll even make a simple box where it's just the standard apron, brush, paint, canvas. And then there's one where you'll have a wine glass, for the paint sip side of the paint. And then yeah, so yeah, that's what I have coming up now.
That's exciting. I'm excited. I can't wait to come home and experience all this. Like I experienced it through social media. But anyway,
Girl, your ass better come back.
you know, ideas.
Literally.
I'll talk to you about it after this. But thank you so much for just coming on and sharing your imposter stories. Where can the
Mhm.
people find you?
On social media, it's Naledi Art. It's
Mm-hmm.
Naledi underscore art, and then shop Naledi Art, and then on Facebook it's just Naledi Zondi, and then
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter it's also Naledi underscore art. So yeah, just look for Naledi Art and you'll find me.
You find
That's
her
it.
somewhere. You
Yeah,
find her
it's
on my
Naledi.
Instagram, on my Facebook, on my YouTube. If you can't find her, come look for me. She's there too. She's there.
Oh,
But yeah, my friend, thank you so much. I can't wait to like physically hug you
oh,
and like
don't even stress me out. Like, oh my god, when somebody asks you about me, I just want to cry because I'm just like, bruh, I don't even know. Like, I don't know either. Stop asking me because I don't know when she's coming back.
Yeah, I'm like, I miss you. But to the
I miss
YouTubers,
you.
bye.
Thank you for having me.